Hello and welcome to the first round of our time together with Astral Slide. I'm Drew Levin, and I have touched up the deck a bit since I last wrote about it. You can see it here. It is, roughly the same like Astral Slide, Eternal Witness, Punishing Fire deck. It's got, a lot of the same spice. I don't think Entreat the Angels was in the deck before, but just as a way to close quicker, or rather faster, more quickly than just like recurring Punishing Fire over and over or attacking with Eternal Witness a couple of times. Being able to Entreat and slide out Witness and Entreat again seems like a great way to close games out. Gone are the Edges of Autumn. Instead we have Mox Diamond, since what goes better with Chalice of the Void than Mox Diamond, and then we can play Tybalt on 1. We have more ways to get lands in our graveyard for Life from the Loam. As a result, we cut the basics, we made our deck a little bit more consistent. We're a little low on cyclers, so we're very much more reliant on Life from the Loam. As a result, we moved away from Ancient Grudge and toward Crows and Grip so that we have answers to Rest in Peace, and that's where we're at. We are not going to mulligan this hand since it's got a bunch of lands, it's got some cycling lands, it's got Grove of the Burn Willows and Punishing Fire, and we aren't exactly mulliganing for anything to beat combo. So we're going to kick this off with a Taiga. If they wasteland that's fine. We've got tons of lands. Island and Ponder means that we are likely just dead, because I can't imagine a lot of decks that play basic Island and Ponder where we could reasonably survive. But we will find out. Yeah, okay, so we're almost certainly dead. They're probably playing High Tide. In that case, we just want to cycle our lands as quickly as possible. We want to play this and get Scroll Rack into play. We don't really have a way to beat them, so to speak. We basically are going to need to peel Entreat the Angels at the perfect time and hope that they break off horribly. But outside of that, we're basically just a goldfish. So yeah. They aren't playing creatures, so we're going to have a lot of cards to bring in. Technically, we probably should have played the Secluded Step so that we can peel Entreat for 2, but we're racking on end step anyway. If they cast Time Spiral, we're just going to go to the next game. But, okay. Well, we have a chance. If they're just, like, missing on lands. We are going to put back our entire hand. We don't want Slide or Engineered Explosives. We do want Witness and Step. But yeah, we're just never beating High Tide into Time Spiral. That's not a realistic thing. So we may as well make the most of it. Sure, we'll dredge loam. Yeah, flip over all of our removal. And then we can cycle things up a couple more times, and I mean, we're gonna die, but you know. So they have tied into Candelabra into activated into Spiral? Sure. Scroll for intuition for spirals. Oh, Jesus, more high tides. Revealing high tide, I see. Well, at least they're playing quickly. Okay, we're done here. So choke, yeah. Plow under, yeah. Chalice, yeah. Shock, no. Terminus, God, no. And that's our deck. Yeah, hopefully we can just like snipe one of their cantrips or something with Sundial. But Plow Under and Choke are like what we're interested in here. I guess Crescent Grip is probably better than something. It's probably better than like an Astral Slide and an Engineered Explosives. I don't think they flash anything back, so like Grafdigger's Cage, not useful. Cool, so get rid of this wasteland and assemble double green. It'll turn 1 Tybalt. Drawing and discarding Seismic Assault. Cool. I didn't want that one anyway. I mean, I sort of did, but sort of didn't. It also doesn't really matter because we have Witness. Oh. Draw and discard Tranquil Thicket. Okay, cool. Well, I guess we're playing this, and casting Chalice, which resolves. Excellent. So now they have to find a bounce spell, since they cannot cast High Tide with Chalice in play. Which is, you know, sweet. Okay, so we cycled Cave for Step at no real cost. I guess we probably want to get Witness in play. We probably want to get our green cycling land back. Okay, so they're forcing it. That's cool. I accept. We're playing this so that if we draw a land... No, I don't need that. Okay. Back to... F1 really is the worst. Like, of all time. The fact that F1 does that is just horrific. Okay, cool. Well, we are going to cast Loam for these. And then... yeah, might as well dredge it. And then... cast it for not quite max value. But... we do get to cycle some things. We're down to 1 Eternal Witness, which isn't great. I think at this point, we're probably more interested in finding real cards. But our opponent is also, like, stuck on things. Okay, so... kick things off by breaking this, cycling... up. Okay, well... that could have gone better. Learned my lesson about how to cycle things. And... okay. Well, that was fairly embarrassing. But... things are going to be okay. I'm confident. Even though we've got like a million life from the limbs. So if our opponent doesn't hit a land again, I think we just nug them for 6. Well, Crow's gripping this thing because I can't imagine a better time to do it. Also playing this and choking them because I also can't imagine a better time to do it. Okay, so we've successfully hit a scroll rack, so we can get scroll rack life from the limb going. So let's see, we play this off of our cycling lands, activate it for 3. Doesn't really matter because we're dredging all of them. And we discard the other life in the limb. Perfect. So then we can Eternal Witness back our Seismic Assault and actually get around to killing them. And so now we are very interested in holding our... Oh, man. Okay. Well, hopefully this goes not poorly for us. I have a feeling that it's going to go poorly for us. Things are going poorly for us. So they're gonna wish for... They're actually like kind of tight on mana. It depends a ton on like what the composition of their hand is. But yeah, also shuffling away our graveyard was not great for us. So, I think what our opponent... Oh, Jesus. Well, that's a terrible sign for us. Well, never mind. That's an awesome sign. I thought that they had, like, turnabout and everything was all set up, but instead, they just had a Desperation Blue Sun Zenith. So, a good way for that game to conclude. Although I'm not really sure why they conceded, because we had a new hand of 7 and we weren't doing a whole lot, but ain't gonna say no to a free win. So that's, you know, our game plan is basically draw like some number of relevant cards. There are, you know, more or less 10. This is obviously pretty sweet, as it just keeps the juice flowing. This needs a green source, which is like a pretty ugly spot to be in, and it's got like not a ton of interaction, so we're actually going to throw this one back. This one, conversely, much slower, but absolutely fine in terms of, you know, doing things. Obviously, we'd love to draw Mox Diamond, as it just speeds up our game by a turn, but this is interesting because, like, ticking it up means that we're, like, some percentage to lose one of our good cards, but we're not some percentage, we're 33% to lose one of our good cards. Like that one. But we didn't exactly put this card in our deck to not cast it and not activate it. So we'll be Crows and Gripping their Sensei's Divining Top. Will we actually? So like, I'd rather not lose with Chalice in our hand. I'd rather like have played our good cards and have them had answers. Alright. So, that's fine. But they're obviously just super low on cards now, and we have another card that interacts with them meaningfully. So like they have to peel off like land, high tide, time spiral, or yeah. Cruising Group against Sensei's Divining Top is... we definitely want this in play. Just great. Okay, so we mill our Windswept Heath. Cycle into another secluded step, and pass back. Our opponent has either Brainstorm or Cunning Wish. Okay. So they're scrolling for High Tide, I presume. Scrolling for Turnabout. That's an interesting card considering they have a Turnabout in play. Tybalt is very good at milling the cards that I draw. Please, can we get another turn? Just like one more. I think we can. Please. Some modicum of not Flusterstorm. Okay. Well, they pitched the Turnabout that they Merchant Scrolled for, so I can handle that. So we discard our Entreat, which is fine. So now they're on, like, nothing. They need both High Tide and a draw spell. So swap that one out. These are both dead, so like we don't have any more cards to fetch here. And we're cycling on our turn because we have a ton of cards to hit and our Entreat is in our graveyard. Perfect. So what we want to do there is just cut them off from High Tide. They can like just hardcast Time Spiral, but at the end of the day, the card that like makes their deck run is High Tide. Okay, so we're going to Witness back a cycling land, I think, and cycle it and target Witness, and then activate Tybalt so that we get our card back for sure, but we also get to activate Tybalt and not discard Witness or the card that we're getting back. It seems like a pretty easy hardcast Force of Will if they have it. So Secluded Step, and then cycle it. Yeah, get that out of here. So do we want Chalice or whatever? We're getting Plowunder. You're up, buddy. Oh man, if they have double, if they have time spiral, just like hard cast. Ugh. That's cute. That's really cute, game. Nope. Oh, hey. I mean, except for the part where they have 7 cards again, like, this is alright. They're pitching a card? Pitching another Flusterstorm instead of... I really wanted... Yeah, they definitely just exiled Flusterstorm when I tapped out. Yeah, they... Okay. The way that Chalice of the Void works with Storm is they cast Flusterstorm, and it goes on the stack. Chalice of the Void trigger goes on the stack on top of that, and then they resolve their Storm trigger of 1, which is the number of spells that was cast before the card Flusterstorm. The Storm trigger resolves, creating basically a Force Spike on top of my Plow Under, which then gets countered because I'm tapped out, and then my Chalice of the Void trigger counters their Flusterstorm. So that's what's going on here. But outside of that, we're cool. Discarding this, obviously, and playing... We've got enough white mana. We actually do need some red mana in case we draw Lake, Seismic Assault. And then we are going to create a stop in their second main phase. So the Merchant Scroll for Wipe Away. So the reason that we set it at on their second main phase is so that we immediately get it back. So we're actually going to activate this first, because I think that the risk of discarding Plow Under versus drawing a second Chalice is negligible. And indeed, we drew a second Chalice, which we then discarded, but, like, that's fine. Of the things that could have happened that turn, that ranks pretty high on the list of things that we liked. So we're going to set this one on 1 as well. They hardcast Force of Will, so they need to wipe away. Okay, so they can probably still do some pretty bad things to us. So we're going to play this. So we can cycle Forgotten Cave, draw a card, slide out our Eternal Witness, bring it back, and then bring back the Forgotten Cave. Yeah, so that's just a free card. So they still have to, like, have enough stuff going on. Which isn't even necessarily, like, I don't know. Yeah, they could just have, like, top and look. Cool. Yeah, that's totally fine. So they have, like, High Tide Turnabout. High Tide Pseudo Turnabout, sure. So our opponent has some mana. 14 available. I'm not really sure what they're going to do with it. Cunning Wish for... So they've got 11 left. They could Intuition. Okay, so they've just got, like, some huge spell as their last card. Actually, just Time Spiral. Well, mana is not a concern for them. Whether or not they have enough action, presumably, is the limiting factor, and that just went away. So, imminent concession at any point, folks, given that I assume they're going to Blue Sun Zenith us out of the game. Yeah, they definitely have enough mana to kill us with Zenith. They don't even need the second Candelabra. Well, we're done here. I'll be back in a little bit. That is How to Lose to Combo with Astral Slide.